Hello, you are watching the inventory module demonstration of Armanino's Dynamic Insights, a purpose-built solution for Dynamics 365 for finance and operations, as well as Dynamics AX. If you've ever found yourself asking questions such as these, why don't I have accurate historical inventory on hand analysis? Why don't I have easy access to what I have available to sell? And how do I manage the on-time delivery of my vendors and choose the right vendors for my items? Then we have the right solution for you. So just a little bit of background for you. This is an example looking at on-hand information, so trended over time. You can also see the supply side, so these are going to be the orders that you expect to receive in, so your purchase orders, your transfer orders in from one location to another, and then the production of finished goods. And all that information is on the supply side. Then on the demand side, you've got your orders going out, so your sales orders going out, or your transfer orders out of a location to somewhere else, or the consumption associated with a production order. But all of this information ends up affecting your inventory levels and ultimately can affect your available to sell inventory. So that's what we're going to take a look at here today. So just to get started here, we'll take a look at it from the standpoint of inventory on hand. This is a report. We're looking at the different inventory locations. We can see that we have information trended over time. And then this is looking at it from a quantity standpoint. And then I'll choose cost amount to change this. And now I can see the inventory value of the per location over the course of time. These reports will take into consideration adjustments that may be done to inventory value at the item level. And it'll be done in such a way that it'll retain historical accuracy of the items to allow for you to do a historical on-hand inventory report. But in here, I could take one of these groupings, say maybe the Costa Mesa inventory location, and then I could break this down and see the specific items that make that up. Now I can see under Costa Mesa, I have the total inventory on hand by the different item posting groups, and then I can open up one of these values, so like the audio, and now I can see that these are the specific items that are in the Costa Mesa location and then trended over time for this information. And then, you know, also could have done apparel and footwear where I've got some changes that occur where lightweight backpacks have fluctuations in the inventory levels. But I can see the ability to look at this by location and then ultimately look at it by the specific items. And it's that kind of information that then allows for you to get into the available to sell. So interestingly here, this is an example of looking at available to sell. I'm focused on one particular location and one particular company. And I'm looking at on-hand balances. What this means is that for this particular item, the central store actually has a negative on-hand balance, which is kind of interesting. But I can also see that there's orders that are being placed for other items. So here I can see the black quilted bag has an on-hand balance of 13, and then there's 10 units that are on order that are supposed to be brought into the central location. So it's that kind of information that ultimately plays into the available to sell. If there were sales orders, then those would be decrements from the on-hand balance or the anticipated available to sell for that particular item. But again, it just shows how that information is available and starts to kind of play together. And then another example would be to take a look at the on-time vendor information. So this one, I'm looking at for one particular company. I can see the vendors on rows. I can see by vendor or by purchase order line, I can see that the phone company was on time 832 times. They're late 2,414 times out of 3,200. That results in them having a 74% late, which is probably not a great thing. And so from a vendor management standpoint, that'd certainly be helpful. And then with data where, you know, a system where you have real production data versus demo data, you can start to get into some really interesting cases where Where here, for instance, where now I'm able to see the items. So this first column represents items, this column represents vendors, and then the same story where I can see early, on time, late, and the all. But then I'm able to start to see where I have an item that's being provided by two different vendors. So I can see I bought a Surface Pro 128 from Acme Office Supplies, and I also bought that same item from Fabricam Electronics. In both cases, they both happen to be late. But if one of them was the star and the other one was the dog, then it helped me to identify which vendor I should place the primary orders with, and perhaps I'll use the other one as a backup. So again, just kind of an idea of how to start to use this information. What makes using the reporting easy is the integration that happens behind the scenes to bring all the different data sources together. So the purchase orders, the sales orders, production order details, and allowing for you to do that kind of slicing and dicing just within Excel or within Power BI. Thank you.